Alright, so hi everyone, welcome to Fandoms and Fan Communities, how we got to now. I'm very excited to be doing this at this particular convention because despite the copious amounts of makeup I'm wearing, I'm old. And I feel like things are just not the way they used to be. But not in that like weird, boomery kind of way. Just definitely the internet and everything has changed so much since I came into this kind of thing. So I want to talk about it. Think of this as a retrospective, a fun jaunt down the last, let's say, 20, 30 years of fandom. Sound good? Good. Cool. So, thank you for stopping by. Oh god, I cut off, it doesn't matter. AichiYume is my panel name, my real name's Amanda. And here are just a few of the things that I consider myself a fan of. So, your Star Wars is, your DC and Marvel comics. There's a reason DC is ahead of Marvel though. I do like Supernatural, I love Doctor Who. Like, there's so many things that I'm a fan of. I really could keep listing, but we'd be here for a while. I'm blessed to be a fan of many hats, realistically, not just this very nice one. And I have more fan years behind me than you'd think. I've been paneling now for 7, and I've been going to conventions really over 10. So I've been around for a while, and I've seen things change, and I've seen things grow. And I'm truthfully fascinated by that. I'm fascinated by growth in any facet. So, with that length of time, I've been a part of a lot of these communities. And I've seen them rise, I've seen them fall, I've seen them get mainstream success. So, I want to talk about that. But I think, so we're all on the same page, let's go over some very, very basic vocabulary. And if we're all on the same page, we'll breeze through it. So we know what a fandom is, correct? That's a group of fans a part of a thing, a fan kingdom as you may call it. You have your ships, which is the relationship you wish to see in a given work, which leads into your OTP, which is your one-true pairing. A shipping manifesto is usually the document that goes along with your ships. Please know that when I explained the whole naval combat aspect to my friend Amber over here, I think she almost left my car, because always remember that cannons defend ships. This is One Piece, and that's why we're here. So your canon defends your ships. This is the information that you pull from the series, or your head canon, which you pull from your mind. But it's also usually the strongest, because you had however many years to think about this. Cool? Now we've gone over some vocab, let's do a little bitty of a timeline. So, welcome to the Dark Ages. I guess it's the 60s. There's really only one convention, and that's Star Trek. Star Trek is the reason why we have modern con culture as we have it. And the pictures from that are phenomenal. If you ever go back and look at that first Star Trek convention, it looks like a trip, and I would love to go back in time and be with those people. So, I don't know how fans spoke to each other. CB radio, pigeons, parchment, I'm not really sure. But fans spoke to each other and did things, and it all looked great. Let's go to the 90s. The internet is kind of a thing, depending on if your parents afford dial-up or not. Now, comics are in a bit of a slump, which is weird, but it is the 90s. And long fans are still fans, but there's not a lot of new blood. There's not a lot of fresh blood in a lot of those critical spaces. Anime, sort of a thing, but only if you have that one friend who's military in Japan, or you're using only legal distributing sites. I had a moment where I had to remember back in the day when Crunchyroll was a pirating site. They were not always legal. Hello, gentlemen, make yourself at home. Well, not literally at home, because I don't know what home means for you. It's the early 2000s! I was on the internet a lot, writing a lot. Anime is a big thing in very small places. You still have your comic people. It's a little bit less crazy with comics, but that's fine. We're all here for a good time. Conventions are big. 2000s is like convention culture, because that's the only time that you can get a lot of this merged legally. For a lot of people, it was the only time that you met other anime fans, unless you were running an anime club at school, like I was in high school. I was president in high school and in college. So unless you're doing those things, unless you're doing so much to ingratiate yourself in these communities, you're not meeting other people like you until you go to con. And it's amazing. I have some of the best memories of my life are from those early days of convention, of like being recognized at Walmart while in costume, and then having a bunch of other people like think I'm some kind of devil worshiper. That's my favorite thing still, is like going to regular places still in costume, and it's like, your hair is not a natural color and you have on 3 corsets. Where did you come from? Greetings from the mid-2000s. Everything is a comic book movie for some reason. Everything is an MCU. I don't know why. I mean, I know why, it's called capitalism. Anime is still doing its best, mostly on the internet, and sites like your Tumblrs, your Quizzillas, your DeviantArts, that's where it's big. That's where your fans are. You're on the DeviantArts, hello.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm a little slow. What is Quizzilla?
So, child, I'm going to take you way back. Quizzilla was a site that used to be run by Nickelodeon, and it was a site for quizzes. But then fangirls found it, like me, and started posting dirty fan fiction on it. And we took it over by manipulating the quiz option. So the quiz was whether you liked the comic or the fanfic or not. So we just used it to write porn on the internet for free and abused the quiz option. So that's what Quizzilla was. I was one of the smut lords of Quizzilla back in the day. Quizzilla was also on that lawsuit that Anne Rice wrote about when she got mad about writers making her vampires gay, even though they're obviously gay. So that's what Quizzilla is. That was my home for a while. So that's where those, you're not slow, you're probably just younger. That's okay, I'm not mad at you. Ask questions, please. That's where your fandom spaces are. That's where you're existing, is online. You're having these conversations in real life, of course, but you're mostly having them online. People that you may or may not ever meet in real life. It's the late 2000s. Things are on fire, I'm sorry. I'm doing my best. Comic book movies are everywhere. YouTube is a place for serious conversations. I put serious in quotes because there are some genuinely great discourse spaces on YouTube, just not many of them. Where am I lying? Donde esta lie? And fandoms are everywhere. We're now incredibly mainstream, and I have some thoughts about that we'll talk about in a minute. But that was a pretty high level timeline. Good? Let's keep rolling. Let's talk about some aspects of the fan world that isn't so great, and I hope that none of this is super triggering. Who knows what gatekeeping means? So gatekeeping is the art of keeping people in or out of a thing. It's literally keeping a gate. So you get this in fan culture by making people answer questions like it's Legends of the Hidden Temple, or telling people that they're not real fans unless they. The thing about gatekeeping is that it's one, insular, and two, destructive, because it, one, makes you gamify your fandom level. You can be a comic book fan and not know the full emotional spectrum of every Green Lantern and Green Lantern Corps. You can be a comic book fan. I'm not going to tell you that you aren't. And it also lessens and hurts people, because I know, like, growing up in Dallas, if I did not answer all 5 questions correctly, like this was Legends of the Hidden Temple, I was denied purchase, I've been asked to leave, I've been harassed. Gatekeeping is a thing, and it's bad. We've gotten better, but it was bad. Also, gatekeeping tends to disproportionately affect people of color, women, queer people. So like, especially me being biologically female and of color, well, I can't be a real anime fan. I'm just doing this for clout. I still hear this on the internet. I must just be doing this for attention. Why would I dedicate 20 years of my life to anime? I have to be doing this for male attention. These are comments I still get on Instagram. That's gatekeeping. Sexism and racism, as well as homophobia and transphobia. Problems everywhere, but also problems in geek communities. We've gotten better, but we still have a long way to go. I will not go into bloody detail because frankly it's early and I'm tired. Acts of violence. I know that our community has been marred by a few of them, and it takes us a while to recover from each and every single one. And each of those acts of violence, like the Aurora shooting, it takes us back several years. So it's those people who take one moment to push us all back decades. I know I still bristle if I see too many jokers in a room now, frankly. And though that's a not savory part of being a part of this world, is there are some people who take this stuff way too far and way in the wrong direction. General nonsense and toxicity. So that kind of leads into gatekeeping a little bit, of just like people who will be disruptive during panels, which I get sometimes. just typical gross language, especially around female fans. Not helpful critiques, especially when it comes to fans of color. My favorite is because it's 29 days of black cosplay, if you guys are not aware. My favorite is oh, well, that character's not black. It's like, what? This is completely new information to me. I had no, what? You mean this character in an anime from Japan isn't black? Throw hat. Like we know Belinda, like we know. But that's just general nonsense at that point. It's not even racist at that point, it's just dumb, like we're aware. That was a lot, let's pause for a sloth.
You sloth in box picture, right, Alex?
Yeah.
Doesn't it help? Does it help a little bit? I mean, we did just talk about like acts of violence and racism. Here's a sloth, I hope the sloth helps. So, how did we get here? I have some thoughts. My three main hypotheses when it comes to this come down to the death of discourse, echo chambers, and forgetting our roots. And I will go into each of these. On the other slide. The death of discourse is something that I kind of came up with, that we don't talk about fandoms and fan things the way we used to. So remember I made that naval combat analogy? I'm used to having to defend my ships like they were my actual ship. So that means if you want to debate me about whether Full Metal Alchemist or Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is the better series, I have had 15 years to form these arguments and I will fight you. With facts, with figures, I will have charts, we can do this. And I hate to make it a these kids thing, but these kids just can't have these conversations. And they throw around words like, oh, well, you're homophobic if you don't like this. It's like, what? What? No, stop it. There's not that general fight to defend things in a way that makes sense. Because I also think that a lot of it does come down to, I'm older, so my tolerance for that's a lot lower. Like, I'm pushing 30. I don't have time to listen to a flock of 16-year-olds telling me that Yuri on Ice was the first anime to do anything. It wasn't, calm down. Relax. But discourse really died, and it's frustrating because I love that part of fan culture. Is this is my ship, this is my OTP, here's my manifesto, I've put hours into this, I've put years into this, and this is what I think. I think that's fandom at its best. When you can lovingly argue your points. And then if you don't agree, you don't agree, and that's fine. You will never change my mind on Full Metal Alchemist being superior to Brotherhood. Don't at me. But being able to then still respect and understand that some people may disagree with me. It doesn't make you lesser, it means you have bad taste, I'm kidding. But I'm not ever gonna call someone out of their name for not liking a cartoon that I like. I'm never going to call someone a slur because they don't like a comic book character that I like. That blows my mind. Which leads us into echo chambers. Niche communities are great because you all get to talk about one thing at once with no conflict. Which means when anyone doesn't agree with you, you get mad at them, usually not very effectively. I love being challenged. Some of my best friends don't like anything that I like, and that helps me a lot because it checks me constantly. When I am having to defend, and I'm using defend, but explain what I like and why, it helps. It re-solidifies that armor of being able to talk about this thing that I like a lot. And then sometimes you don't reach a conclusion where both of you agree, but you do reach a conclusion that is full of respect. I love being challenged. I love challenging others. It's like, well, why do you feel this way? Why do you think that My Hero Academia is the best version of insert whatever this show is about? Tell me. Give me your reasons. And then it's forgetting our roots. I think one thing that I've come to have a struggle with is just a general not looking back. As soon as I decided that anime was a way of life for me, I went back. I looked at Outlaw Star. I looked at the old Lupin. I can't say that I like all of those older series now, but I went back. This wasn't just a hobby for me, and I know that sounds a little gatekeepery, but this wasn't a passing thing for me. It was something that I was serious about, and that means that if I'm going to sit here and talk about mecha anime, I'm gonna know what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna have watched one mecha and say that it's the greatest that's ever existed. If I'm gonna talk about comic books, I'm gonna be able to say, well, here's a timeline of this character. Not, the MCU didn't start Marvel Comics. The DC Extended Universe did not start DC Comics. Attack on Titan was not the first anime. I think looking back is so important. Now it does make watching newer stuff hard, because some of it does feel a little bit like, we've been over this. We've done this. This is a Naruto reskin, you will not trick me. But also having those roots and having those references makes some of those things so much richer. I was watching BoJack Horseman. I won't spoil anything, but the show that Mr. Peanut Butter is on in this season, Birthday Dad, I explained it to my friends. He's like, what the fuck is this show? It's like, it's Touched by an Angel. And he's like, what? It's like, yeah, it's literally Touched by an Angel, but stupid. And he's like, you just made that whole thing make more sense. Like, having those points of reference makes anime so much richer. And it frustrates me when like these like small points of references exist, but it's like, just look literally anywhere else. Literally go back, I hate saying this now, but 10 years. Ugh. We just got that new Death Note one shot. I hope half these kids that read it go back and read the original Death Note. I hope they do, because it's still good. It's a hot mess, but it's good. I think we can't forget our roots, and I think that's so important. And I think that that's one of the reasons why I was so excited to be here at this convention that does skew a little bit older. So we all know our roots. We know that it is in this kind of more belligerent form of fandom, but it's a loving belligerency. It's a loving war. None of us were trying to attack each other. When we fought over ships, none of it was meant to tear each other down. It was just, I want to test your conviction. I want to see the might of your spirit. If you really believe this pairing, you're going to tell me, and you're going to convince me. To the point that I've had my mind changed from very effective arguments. I've read shipping manifestos and been like, well, fuck my drag. You're right. Cool. So where do we go from here? I've painted a somewhat grim picture, I guess. So where do we go from here? What does fandom look like in the next 5, 10, 15 years if we still have a planet? Here's the future of fandoms and fan communities as imagined by one very, very old fan. I think we'll get those niche communities back. I know with Tumblr leaving, a lot of people fled to Discord, which is a place that I love a lot, where you can talk ad nauseum about one thing very specifically. Now, because a lot of those people that fled Tumblr were older, we brought back a lot of those similar things of being able to poke holes in arguments, essentially. But I think that return of online niche community is going to be fascinating. I think we'll get emergence into new critical spaces. I was a little bit sour on YouTube, but I think that there is a place for that genuine, real media criticism in YouTube. I followed a lot of video essayists. If you'd like recommendations, I'm happy to give you some later on. I think that we'll get that critical space again. We'll be able to talk about these things in a more mature way, and I look forward to that. Which means I think we'll have better discourse. I do think that, and I hate to say it, it's a maturity thing. As these kids grow up, they'll get better. And they'll stop throwing around homophobia as a reason to not like Yuri on Ice. Some people just don't like ice skating. And I think we'll continue to see the rise of underrepresented fans. I know for me, I use the internet to hide my blackness a lot. Because as a black person going to school like in the 2000s, that wasn't a black thing. Anime wasn't for black people, that was a white people thing. So I use the internet to mask my race a lot. Well, now that I'm on the internet, I'm learning that there's a lot of people of color who like this stuff, and we all hid. We all hid for so many years, and we don't have to anymore. And having like black cosplay being a big thing through February, like all those things is just so fantastic. And it's like hearing LGBTQIA plus fans talk about anime and in their own special way. Hearing black fans and Hispanic fans, just fans of color, talking about how comic books and anime and video games helped them. I frankly think it's inspirational. So, let's have some time for questions, if you have any. Yes.
So judging back on the anime aspect, how did you used to watch your anime, I guess, back in the day, like, I guess before 2000, if you remember?
So there was this thing called Blockbuster, and I would rent the same Dragon Ball Z VHS essentially. And then Pokemon, I would rent those. And then we also had this thing called Saturday Morning Cartoons, held by an evil organization called 4Kids. So I got a fair amount of anime. It was shit, I'm sorry, but I got my anime. Because like, so 2000s, I was born in 1990. So if we're talking like 90s to 2000s, I was a child watching Dragon Ball Z with my parents. They were asleep, so they didn't see the boobs and violence. So I tried to do it as legally as possible. Now if you're talking high school, oh boy. So I remember my friend gave me a burned DVD copy of Ouran High School Host Club, and we passed that around like drugs.
Oh my God.
I don't know where she got this copy, but we passed that around like cocaine, like in books, like slide under a table, like we like throw it to each other in the halls. Like we treated manga and anime like it was crack, where you just you slide it in your friend's backpack. Oh, you done with that Ouran? Let me get some other Ouran next.
Amazing.
It was amazing, and we also did fan dubbing and fan subbing, where we translated anime. Yeah! Where we took that raw anime, and we took our 3 months of Japanese, and we're like, I know what this one word means. I know what Momo means. That means butt. I mean peach. Like, so you make it work. Like, I really admire like the ingenuity of fans back then, because you had that one friend who was military and in Japan, you use them as a drug mule. They bring back everything. Like, we made it work, and we did it for years until Funimation decided that they were gonna not be jerks. So that's how we did it. Like, it was definitely a time.
Oh, yeah, just to build up, because I'm way older than 30.
I don't believe that.
I'm 54.
Thank you.
When I was in Chicago, grew up in Chicago, there was a club, and they actually would, on a monthly basis, do very niche kind of videos.
Yeah.
And that included Japanese stuff. And the guy actually was narrating, because it was not dubbed.
No.
It was not subtitled.
No.
And by the way, so I actually saw Wicked City originally with somebody describing what's going on. And by the way, that's a creepy experience. If you don't know, in the 1980s, like, it is quite a shock in the 80s to see a woman with a lethal vagina coming.
I think it still is in 2020.
Oh, yes.
Okay. I just wanted to know.
But it was but they came with a warning. And,
Oh, that's nice.
And when you were saying about Blockbuster and things like that, oh yes, and this was also the time where they would show, there were specialty theaters that would show at midnight.
Yeah, there were.
That you had to, because again, I forgot which one, Overlord Beast, where, I'm sorry, people should not explode from having sex.
They should. So you know what? I'll tell you a story. I remember when Pokemon the first movie came out, and I was a kid, and I got my Mew Pokemon card, and I saw that movie with my dad. It was one of the first movies that I remember seeing in theaters, and I cried. And my dad was a 6'3", 300-pound black man, and I had never seen him look like he hated his child more. But I am crying over Ash Ketchum and his Pikachu and turning to stone. I sobbed, and I was my parents' only child. Everything I did was great. I had never seen my dad disappointed until he saw me look at this backwards cartoon and just weep bitterly. So like you found ways. Like it wasn't a no man's land. But I think again, like having to kind of, frankly, skimp around and do stuff. It was a commitment. You couldn't be a casual back then. You were staying up and watching Adult Swim and Toonami. Like, you could not be a basic back then. You had to commit. If you were gonna stay up to 3 o'clock in the morning, if you didn't catch it,
If you go up at 6 a.m.
Right.
Same thing on Fox Kids.
Yeah, so here was
Digimon.
mine, was Adult Swim, the original run. If I missed a Lupin at 1 a.m., I'd have to stay up till 4 and watch that rerun for Eastern time. Or for Western time. That's commitment. You can't be a fucking basic and do that on a school night. I would plug my headphones into the television because my aunt had the TV in her room. I would have it on the lowest brightness, and I would sit there with the headphones in the darkness, watching Lupin while my aunt slept. And if she ever woke up, my life was over. If she ever rose from her slumber, my life was over. But I was sitting there watching Inuyasha in a blanket with my headphones with the lowest brightness I could in subtitles. If those headphones ever malfunctioned, I would not be sitting here to this day. Like Borders was a thing. half-price books. Like, you found your legal ways to do it and your illegal ways to do it. Yes.
This is the convention, if you want to hear stories about how you got anime back in the old days.
I mean, it really does.
At conventions, people used to bring multiple VCRs,
Yep.
put them all up in change,
Yep.
change so that they could share the fan subs,
Yep.
dubbing from one to multiple.
Yep.
That's how you got stuff.
That's how you got stuff. But, so yeah, that's how we did it. Anything else? Really, I was that thorough and I have no questions at all on the, yes?
So touching back on that for like watching stuff in the early days,
In the early days, okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry, like I'm 30, I'm 30, so I'm in that same age bracket. So what, have you ever seen something like, I guess it maybe it's during what have you, that was like, you know?
Oh, all the time. I mean, of course, it's anime. Fun fact, so my first experience with anime I think is like a religious experience. I had it with anime. My aunt went to UT Arlington back in the day, and they had a bowling alley for some reason in their like student union. I guess that's what you have when the school makes money. And through every lane of that bowling alley were TV screens. And one day, I guess some weeb had control, and there was Dragon Ball playing. But I didn't know it was Dragon Ball. So I was 6 years old, and I was watching this like room-sized television, and a kid with a monkey tail riding on a cloud punched a pterodactyl out of the sky, cooked and ate it. And I was like, this is my Messiah. This is fucking it. Like, I was 6 years old, watched a kid with a tail, like a fucking dinosaur out of the goddamn sky, and then eat it. And I was like, this is it. This is, whatever this is my cult. This is my religion. I grew up Catholic, but this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And I was done. Like, oh yeah, anime does that all the time. Devilman Crybaby did that for me a couple of years ago. Sarazamai did that last year. If you can't look at the absurdity of anime and of comics, then you're not doing it right. Every premise of every anime is stupid, but it's our stupid. Thank you. I'm glad that was the consensus statement. It's all dumb. It's just dumb we're willing to defend.
It's not wrong.
Hey, I wish you would. I wish you would fight me on that. Yes.
Yeah, when I used to stay with my roommate, me and my roommate would watch Godzilla movies all the time. Not because they're great movies, but just how cheesy
They're
they
so
were.
absurd. I mean, like, all media is absurd. When you break it down that far, all media is absurd. The fact that we have any fiction at all doesn't make sense. But it's that absurdity that makes it genius. And the fact that I was willing to dedicate my life based on a still of a child punching a pterodactyl out of the sky and cooking it. So I turned 30 in July, 24 years ago, and I'm still doing it. And I have no intention of stopping. It is in my will that I will be buried in cosplay. I haven't quit. I ain't gonna. They'll have to pry from my cold dead hands. I'm sorry. Anything else?
It was actually in your book.
Yes. It's Ryuichi Sakuma. To be buried as Ryuichi Sakuma in his Niddle Grasper performance outfit with my green wig. You will bury me in cosplay. If I die, bury me in cosplay. Lay me down. We were talking about singing when I was getting ready in the bathroom. Anything else? Really, I've solved all of the world's problems in discussing the complexity of fan culture and community. That is fascinating to me.
I mean, the rest of us just hang out on Discord and talk a lot.
Okay, bye Felicia. Yes, you were my best friend today.
So what are some of your personal favorite characters since you're touching on fandoms?
Oof. So,
Oh, yeah,
no, it's okay. So favorite characters like of all or like?
yeah, well, that's like,
Okay, so you should know it's a terrible question to ask. So one thing I will say is that my taste in anime hasn't changed, but like who I'm focusing on has changed. Like when I was watching Naruto and it was a thing 20 years ago, like I was more focused, I was more focused on like Sasuke and Naruto, but like now like I feel Kakashi in my bones. I'm just like a tired 30-year-old man who doesn't want to be around all these emo children. Fullmetal Alchemist is the same. Like I was like, yeah, I'm Edward, I get that, and now I'm just Mustang, just tired and has PTSD. Like just so tired, probably a little bit manic. Probably should see a therapist but never will. Has like these delusions of grandeur that will never amount to anything until it does. So yeah, I mean Mustang's up there, Kakashi Sensei's up there. Oh god. I really like Mello from Death Note just because I feel like he did not get the ending that he deserved. But yeah, I guess those are some. Oh, Yuki Eri from Gravitation. I have bad taste.
Did you just say Gravitation?
I did, it's my favorite series.
series.
It's my favorite anime, like it's trash, but it's my trash.
It's our trash.
It's our trash.
Yes, if we're gonna be trash, we're gonna be trash together, goddammit.
Exactly. We still have a few minutes. Talk. You want more battle stories from conventions?
Yeah.
You want horror stories?
There's
Yeah.
always
There's always horror
There's
stories.
always a horror story.
Oh Lord have mercy.
You all have horror stories.
We do all have horror stories.
That's what keeps Dirt and Tie going.
So, I will tell you a horror story. I was at Ushicon.
Oh boy.
Okay. Okay, shady ass room, got it. I was at Ushicon, and not to besmirch anyone, I was in an elevator with a friend who has claustrophobia. She really never been to a convention before and has claustrophobia. So we're in an elevator, me, my co-panelist is usually with me, and my claustrophobic friend. We get into the elevator at that hotel, and a flock of furries joins us.
Oh no.
A herd. One of them has a boombox with very loud music. So my friend knows that I'm not crazy about furries and about tight situations, and my friend is literally claustrophobic. So my friend, in all of his infinite wisdom, says, "Hey, can you crank those beats?" So I have a furry grinding on me with his boombox, and my friend, who's having a panic attack, and the elevator malfunctions. So we are in a constant loop of up and down, never reaching our floor, never stopping, just like a Sartre in hell, and just being grinded on. And I think I disassociated so hard that it willed the elevator to work. And we finally left, and we collapsed like a heap onto the floor. And I punched my co-panelist. I've been paneling for 7 years now. I'm very, very proud to be a panelist, and conventions are the best and worst thing that have ever existed. You get this many nerds in one place, it's a nightmare. I've seen hotels trashed. I've seen so much, but it's also so fun, like being able to just help each other. Like I love being a part of this community, because like if you don't know support until you are a cosplayer having a nervous breakdown and like one person from across the room has a hot glue gun. You don't know love until your wig has been taken by a small child and someone else bigger and buffer and takes your wig back for you. That's what this community has been for me for the past 20 years, has been unconditional love and support with veiled compliments that usually mean that you aren't doing a good job. Dallas cosplay is very cutthroat. It's very like, oh my god, you look great. She looks terrible. Which I kind of love. It makes you be better, but like it is fascinating to like look at someone like, oh my god, I love your outfit. And then like 5 steps, oh my god, did you see that JCPenney ass dress? It's like RuPaul's Drag Race all the time, but like with cosplay. It's like if that Yaya Han show was good. Oh wow, we're a room full of people who support Yaya Han. All right then.
Wait, you're talking about Yaya Hamasaki?
Huh?
I'm about Yaya Hamasaki? Or, I misheard that, I'm sorry.
Yaya Han, that one cosplayer who's really, really famous. She had like her own like Heroes of Cosplay show for a while on Sci-Fi, and like.
Oh, that was a thing, that's right. I'm sorry! Forgot!
Where is my fan?
I'm sorry!
Oh my god, girl.
I'm like, yeah, that was a thing, wasn't it?
All right. Yes, I do have a fan. It gets hot under all the makeup. But yeah, like cons are great. I'm happy to be. This is actually my first Ushicon. I've somehow never been here before.
It's my first one too.
Yay!
What's the location? It's not I-35, so that's awesome.
I mean, we drove up here, so it wasn't that bad. But yeah, cons are great. Fan culture is great. I mean, we had to do some crazy stuff to like this stuff, to like comics and to like all of it. Gatekeeping is weird, but it did make a fan who knows a lot of trivia. If you want to talk about the emotional spectrum of DC Comics, if you want to talk about Etrigan the Demon, You want to talk about booster mold? Got you. You want to talk about the other villages in Naruto that aren't leaf or sand? I got you. Anything else? Goodness gracious, I really have solved all the world's problems.
So wait.
Tell me.
Sorry.
I have a friend.
I was mentioning the call earlier, so I'm gonna have to go over this, like, okay, who's your favorite queen for your season?
Katya.
Okay, now who's your least favorite queen? Because that could take a while.
Kennedy Davenport.
I mean, I don't know if you want to say Chandler for some reason. I don't know, I'm sorry.
Why would I hate Chandler?
No, I was thinking.
You felt that in my energy?
I felt that for him. But I love Katya. Katya's a hot mess and crazy and I love her for it.
Yeah, she's great. She's
Like,
everyone's
just like
favorite.
me.
Yeah, she's great. I mean, Shangela should have won All-Star, but that's not what we're here to panel about. Though that does have a toxic fandom of its own. RuPaul's Drag Race does have its very own, incredibly. Open up a whole can of worms.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that fandoms have gotten a lot less toxic. I think the internet made it very, very easy for us to be toxic to each other. Because, like, you're just talking to an avatar at that point. You don't know what you're saying. You're just venting. And then there's a person behind it. Like, there's a great ContraPoints video on canceling. And it's like, when you're on the internet, you don't know who you're talking to. You just do it. You just say it. And yes, I said great ContraPoints. I still like her.
I still feel like I feel like she got wrong. That's just me.
I don't.
Okay, I support that.
Again, fight me.
I'm not gonna fight you over sister. You don't fight each other. I ain't gonna take you down.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome, sister.
I'm also like 5'1" and asthmatic, so like that's not a real fight. that's not a real fight. I say fight me a lot for someone with as many health problems as I have.
That's why she agreed with me.
Amber, you would leave me immediately. I surround myself with people who are bigger than me, but are the chillest and most placid and bucolic. So our dynamic is 100% Edward and Alphonse Elric, where I'm the one screaming fight me, but knowing that I could not fight. I say fight me a lot for someone at my height and my weight.
So, do you like where, the accessibility of anime has come?
Like is a complicated word. I mean, I think it's great. Of course I do. I don't think that access should be a gatekeeping factor. But I do think with it being mainstream, it has expanded the pool.
With some questionable people at it.
No, it's just a bigger pool. And you guys have been in hotel pools, right? So you're in a hotel pool. You're with your friend. You two stay close to each other. If some random dude in a Speedo starts swimming over to you, you're not going to embrace him as family immediately. Unless that's how you roll. Which I can't judge, but I know that I will. It's just like that. We're all in this huge hotel pool together. Some of us have been here for a little bit longer than others. Some of these new people have ideas that I don't necessarily like. Some of the old people got crazy the longer they've been here. Sorry. Like some of the older people have gotten crazy the longer they've been in the pool. It's just a bigger pool now. So, do I love the accessibility? Sure. I think I don't like a lot of the decisions that have been made with that accessibility. I hate the way Funimation translates. If they translate Aniki as bro one more time, I will take someone to the ground. Poof! That's a choice that I don't support and that I don't like. I don't like the way that some of the simul dubs are done, or some of the simul pubs are done. But I'm not in control yet. Yes. So do I like that it's easier to access this stuff? Sure, but easier doesn't necessarily mean better. Like with anything. It's easier to get on the internet, but if you're still using Time Warner Cable, it's still trash. That was the joke! That was it!
They're called Spectrum now.
Fuck you, I don't care. Grande Communications, whatever. But yeah, it's just a bigger pool. It's fine. It's fine.
Wait, running stuff already?
Huh?
Is it running stuff already?
Sure, I don't know. You gentlemen have had it. You have any questions? Y'all good? I've covered everything?
I have one,
Why you holding back?
because I like to.
Oh, well then.
I think that Dragon Ball is better than Dragon Ball Z and Super. Do you
Well,
agree?
Super, absolutely.
Yeah.
Super is hot trash. You're
He
welcome.
hasn't seen Super yet, so he doesn't.
Oh, shut the fuck up. You don't know. I've seen
Because of
it.
my experience, though.
Stop feeding him false information. Let him form opinions.
I didn't.
You aren't a nostalgia
I
critic.
like Super.
You aren't the nostalgia critic. Let him have opinions.
That's the problem. If he likes it, then he probably doesn't. I mean, he likes Dragon Ball
Okay.
and Z.
I think that-
I like Dragon Ball better than Z.
I think that Dragon Ball was more weird, which is why more people like it, because Z was actually pretty vanilla. Like, in comparison to Dragon Ball, Z's actually pretty vanilla, which is saying something. Also, Z has less racism, which is nice, because Dragon Ball has a lot of racism, a lot of, like, anti-Chinese sentiment that I knew as a child, but I'm very aware of as an adult who can vote. I think it's just different. But I mean, like, I look most fondly back on Z and Dragon Ball. Super, I don't like, and I have seen it. GT, rest in peace.
I got rid of Team.
The opening's better than the show.
Sure, we're all entitled to our opinions. Everyone is entitled to their wrong opinion.
It's such a bad show, GT.
But like at that point, like, it's not even a joke. It's just like a statement. Like it's just at that point, it's like there's nothing even to lampoon. It's just accurate. It is bad. So, did we really cover everything? Are there no bridges left to cross?
Well, there's always bridges to cross.
I have asthma. I really shouldn't be going across bridges. Can I have a rascal? So, we had some people join us. Hello there. We're in a current open discussion about fan communities.
Cool.
Yes. But if you guys have no questions for me, this is my YouTube and my email address, which is somehow less important than all the other places you can find me. I blog, I take photos, I generally should post on the internet because I'm pushing 30 and I have to do something with my time. So if you like or disagree with anything that I said, you're welcome to find me, tag me. Any and all recordings and videos of this are fine. Take pictures with me. I love that kind of stuff. And as I'm breaking down, you're welcome to ask me questions. But I had a good time. Did you guys have a good time? I'm so glad. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it.